Living for a living, baby. How you doing?
I started this basically as like an excuse to have an uninterrupted conversation with someone I found interesting because, it's just kind of tough to have those conversations nowadays. Like but as soon as you put a camera and a microphone in front of somebody, like their phone goes away, it goes on silent, but if you're just like, hey, let's go to the coffee shop and get a coffee, it that you have a maximum maybe of like 20 minutes before someone starts looking at their phone or they get hit up or something. And I was like, yo, the podcast is a way to totally hack that.
Yeah,
And
I
so in the
agree.
beginning it was all like the guest stuff, which I still like doing. And then once lockdowns hit, I was like, yo, I can't have any guests on, because at first I didn't want to do Zoom stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I just got to start talking to myself. Like you said, I like to talk. I'll talk to myself, bro. So, well, it's been fun to like reconnect and get some of the like old homies on the podcast, and it's a little networking tool and all that stuff. So, and then I always end up like taking one thing from everybody at least, and our conversations throughout the years, whether it be about sports or life or workout, whatever, like we always, I feel like, both bring something to the table with each other. And then, like I was talking to Colin last night, actually, for the first time in like maybe 3-4 weeks. And
Uh-huh.
he randomly mentioned like, yeah, your one clip, or when Jason Gesser was talking about this. And I was like, damn, like, he's getting something out of it too. Maybe he's not watching the full one or whatever, which is cool, but at least a 4-minute clip, like he got something out of it. So no, sorry, I rambled there, but thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we can always provide each other value and get some stuff, from each other in so many ways. And sometimes it's not even actually by talking; it's just by seeing how people live, or watching how they behave or how they do things. Maybe you don't catch on right away, but then later on, you're like, sometimes there's a situation that happens in your life, and you're like, oh, like he did that way, and it makes sense now. And now you learn it, sometimes a little later, not right away. But that's one of the examples, because in Orlando, just being together for a certain amount of time, obviously you see how everyone really is, because you were spending more time together, and just by seeing how the artists are, just being in that environment, and
Yeah.
learning that, being in that sports realm, not that we're in a box, but when you're with athletes, that whatever that percentage is on the planet, with 10-12% of athletes in the world, like you do what athletes do, and you're in that bubble. When you step out and you see these artists, and you're like, okay, I can use that. And this is the create how they get creative, how they work. It's all good information. Then when you see it with your own eyes and see the behavior, that's how you learn. Also, another good way to learn is see it.
Yeah, no, and it's weird. Yeah, I really enjoyed going in the studio in Orlando too.
Right?
Like, um, because I'd never been, I just seen it in like rap videos and shit. And so like, it's like it's fun going in there. Oh, we'll go smoke a blunt. Like it was like just like the total like rap like video world. Even though Colin and them aren't doing rap, but like just that idea was fun. And then, but there is like overlap from that creative space
Uh-huh.
and the athletic space. And I'm sure, I don't know shit much about the business world, but I'm sure there's overlap in everything, and then also some differences in everything. And man, that's what I'm just trying to do with like how you said it, just like, oh, okay, like I might not learn it like
Uh-huh.
right this second, even with like our conversation that we have now, like there might be something that I watch it in a year from now and I was like, oh damn, like that really applies to what I'm going through in the future, whereas like you don't really know how it's going to all work. And no, it's like, and we've had some cool little overlappings now in some exotic places, so it's like I was stoked to have you on. I'm sitting here like I try not to plan too much of the conversation out because I don't want to get it like, well, so like I don't want it
Yeah.
to be an interview. I want it to just be a conversation. But I was like,
Exactly.
I wonder what like we've never really talked about like Portugal, you know, like in, even though we were both there and like in it and experiencing it, but it was like our lives there were definitely a little different. You know, you had the family there and everything, and just the way of getting there. But I was like, I wonder how Danny reflects on Portugal, because you know me, I'm like fucking Portugal till I die kind of guy now. And it's like, I wonder how's Danny feel about Portugal? So how do you like, what's the way you describe it now?
Well, for sure. I mean, going into Portugal, like I don't know if you know, but now I'm telling you now, I wasn't in a good space mentally. Like I was leaving university over there, where I was rehabbing my knee, and then I was about to start. Like I was about to start, got injured, and then my last year, um, they told me basically, oh, we're gonna go with the young guys since you never really started, and um, so you're washed up kind of thing, like that's
Yeah.
how that's why I was leaving that space to go to Portugal. And then obviously being in Portugal, I wasn't always in my best state. I was definitely not in my best state there. I was running away from problems and stuff like that. But Portugal in general, and that experience, just like one example, just being with my family over there, getting close to them, being in that culture, which I'll get soon, like obviously amazing. And meeting you and Colin there and all the other Portuguese guys, that felt great.
Yeah.
That was like, man, these guys are real, and these guys are loving. We're all here for the same reasons. We both like traveling, both like football, like we're here to give love, really. But I mean, Portugal, so much love for Portugal. Everything, it's from the food, from the culture, from the people, from the lifestyle. Obviously, the family being there, that love is. Damn, Portugal's great, man. I mean,
Dude, yeah, it's I do remember you talking about the like struggles with not starting, but it's funny you say it now of like not being in a good space before Portugal, because I feel like a lot of people I talk to about Lisbon or Portugal in general, like, bro, exact same thing. I was the year before you, your year
no,
was my second year there, but I was in a fucked up mental space of like just graduating, trying to work a real job, bad relationship, like, and, I don't know if like, I don't want to speak for Colin, but like he was also in kind of just a different part of life of like coming out of the NFL and, like out of arena and kind of just football being in like a weird place. I think before he got to Portugal, he was working on like a farm in Hawaii that was like, you don't get paid, but they pay for everything. And so like, it's kind of crazy. I view Lisbon and the Devils as like the perfect storm for like ultimate connection of not only, individually all of us, because like I think it all like helped our minds out and like helped our like us move forward in a way, but then for all the connections that were made, like, we're still talking today. I talked to Colin yesterday. I've had Amarin on the podcast. Like when I go back, like there's so many crazy connections from there that, I've now been on like four or five other teams, and on every other team, there's normally like one dude, whether it's a local guy or whatever, but there's like one guy. And Portugal, it was like everybody, like that was like, so, and then even just meeting the random people not on the team, it was like, it was wild. I mean, the thing I was curious though is, like with your uncle out there, like your uncle's kind of like balling out there, right? Like what's a little bit of like his background? Because we never talked about this, and I know he had like the deal with uh what Luis for what's
yeah,
Figaro. Yeah, I didn't want to mispronounce get the Portuguese guys mad at me, but like how did he come to all of that kind of stuff?
yeah. Well, he's born in so why Portugal? So
Yeah.
born in Mozambique, Africa. So that's why they speak the language. When they came out, when they left Mozambique because of the war, they decided to go to Portugal. And the rest of the family, they decided to go to Canada. But Paulo, he's like, nah, this is Portugal. Portugal's my spot. Like, you guys go whatever you want. Portugal is where I'm gonna, this is the nest, and that's where he created. So he's been in the sports world, helping these guys in the business world, helping a lot of soccer guys really, because a lot of these young guys, they go from not having much, and then they have a lot of money. They get these pro contracts. These soccer guys, they get paid a lot. So he's just helping him and a bunch of other guys. Really, he's been doing that for a couple of guys, helping them manage their finances, basically, like how to be smart with your money, stuff like that. And he decided to open. We've been in the restaurant business. He decided to open a restaurant in Algarve, and it's when you talk about Algarve and you talk about Villamora, where he's at, that's the top spot to watch soccer. Be in that marina environment, and a lot of the UK guys, they love going there because it's a sports bar. It's all about soccer. The football. It's all about it. So yeah, he's been running that business now for a while, and it's going pretty well.
Yeah, I just always remember you talking about it, and you were always eating good, and I was always like, damn, it was always kind of in my mind, and I was like, that's something I'm curious about, Dan, but then also the other thing, like, to spin off of that is just like, and you just mentioned it a little bit with, bro, give me some family background, like the Tam family, because like, you're a pretty fucking unique dude in my mind, of like, Chinese guy in Canada, speaks French, but now you're in Orlando, like, like, I don't know what all, like, give me a little background of like how this all came to be. And now you said Mozambique, I didn't really realize that. So yeah. Take me through it a little, bro.
Unique is right, I think. So yeah,
and I mean that as a huge compliment,
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, Mozambique, that's where my mom was born, and basically my grandfather was half. My grandfather was half African, half Chinese. My grandmother full Chinese. So that's why, obviously, you look at me like, obviously this guy's Asian, obviously this guy's Asian, but a little bit of African in me.
Okay.
And so Portugal was the first stop, and then Canada, and just grinding in the restaurant business, because that's what we knew. I had one of my mom's uncle here in Mont-Laurier, so that's even like, if you're talking about French, we're talking about like super French Quebecer environment, like white Quebecer up north, that type of environment. And he had an Asian restaurant up in there. The whole family worked there, and then decided to go to Quebec City. Saw an opportunity to open up. There wasn't that many Chinese buffets in that type of style, so we wanted to be one of the best in Quebec. And it's been 29 years now, these restaurants in Quebec City.
Damn. And so in like, because dude, I'm dumb in the ignorant American in certain way, like in Quebec City, like French is the main language, yeah? Or what's like the percentage of how it gets spoken?
So Quebec City, it's as French as you can even imagine. It's like they have rules where you're like, so basically, you can only go to English school if one of your parents or your grandparents went to English school. So the only way I got into English school is my stepdad. His father went to English schools, because that's how they protect the language. They're so protective about the French language, since we're only this little part in Canada that speaks French. We're trying to protect it. Like, this language is very important to us. So that's how they protect it. So that's why my English is very, like, I'm better. Like, when I write, I'm in English, because I went elementary school in English, I did high school in French, and then university was whatever. Like, I could choose some of the classes in English, some in French. But yeah, that's how they protect their language. And so Quebec City is very French, but then you go to Montreal, which is 2 hours away, and Montreal is very bilingual.
Okay.
That's why, in Montreal is very. It's actually, you talk about unique. Montreal is unique because it's very bilingual. So when you go in the store, let's say they have to say bonjour, hi.
Bonjour.
So
Hi.
French first, and then
Okay.
English. It's really so. Then the customer has the opportunity to go in his first language, whether it's French or English, but you got to know both. It's very bilingual. And even when people you speak, like you speak to a Montrealer, like half sentence, you're gonna talk English and then go French and you go back to English like nothing happened. That's how bilingual Montreal is. Montreal is great.
But in Quebec City, like it's French. Like I mean, then there's a big portion that they don't even speak English then.
Exactly. Like some of the
Yeah.
older generations in Quebec City, they only speak French. And if you talk to them in English, some of them they're not gonna talk to you in English. Like no, it's true. Like they'll be like, you speak French, bro. You're in Quebec. Like speak French. Like they really protect their language in that type of way. The Quebec
Damn.
French.
Yeah, that's just like wild to me because it's like it would be, like in the States if I don't know, Florida or something. And I guess Florida in a way, certain parts only spoke Spanish, but I guess you go to certain spots in Florida or California or Texas. Like, I guess so in that way but even like it's like the national language, I guess like
Oh,
Spanish is just kind of taken over through immigration, that's what I loved being in Florida was like everywhere you went, the food, the people, like everyone's chill and like welcoming and warm um but yeah, so I guess I answered my question with that one. But you said you like think and you dream in English, or like English is number one in your mind?
yeah, I would say, when I write, I'm for sure I'm writing in English because it's a easier language. First of all, like
Okay.
we're not gonna make things up and say, French is easy, French is hard as hell.
Yeah.
There's so many stuff to it. Like there's exceptions, there's accents, there's all kinds of businesses and rules that
The
even I still.
number system is wild to me in French. I don't know too much about it, but like saying what, like 420s or, whatever, to get 80, it's like 420s or something like it's like, bro, what?
So yeah, definitely English is easier and it communicates well. English is a language that I think is easy, and that's why it's one of the languages we use for business because it's easy to learn and easy to communicate it.
Yeah, I know. I just always, or, I'd seen on your IG a few times when you are back up north, you'll sometimes there'll be a story with writing in French, and I'm always like, okay, like I know where Danny is now, like that's how I can like really keep tabs. I'm obviously the sun in Florida in the winter gives it away, but like
Uh,
I language, me, like language, as much as I like to talk, it's more really just about like the communication factor. And so, that was like such a good, fun thing for me in Portugal was to take those classes that second year and, continue through it. And at this point, like, I mean, I try and at least like have a conversation with myself in Portuguese every single day, and then in Spain, when I was in Spain for like 8, 9 months, I'll admit I didn't try as hard to learn Spanish there because I really wasn't digging the like Barcelona Spanish accent, the Barcelona cerveza, like it just, and now I'm kind of mad at myself because it was like, dude, you had the opportunity to really practice, but I just didn't it wasn't until I like started dating the girl from Venezuela that like I was trying to get my Spanish game up because I was more around like the South American, Central American crew. And I like that although their accents at times is funny to me, they have their own little thing too. And so, bro, now I'm trying to get my Finnish on, and bro,
nice.
Finnish is crazy just from the aspect that it's unlike anything that I've tried to learn, you know, like being in Poland and Czech, like they were pretty similar with like, I could really relate those to like Portuguese in certain ways, but Finnish has like no relation, like words aren't the same at all in my mind. And, but it's cool. I like it. Like my favorite thing in Finnish is they'll have like the double letter and it's like you pronounce both letters.
How was
Like
that?
like example, like um so like my coach's name is Pekka. So in English we just say Pekka,
Yeah.
but in like Finnish it'd be like Pekka. Like you like it's like two, like you break it into two syllables almost and you're saying Pek and then ka, or like, yeah, I guess I'll stiff. His wife's name is Jenny, but the J is a y, so it's Yenny. Like you kind of hang on the double letter. And so
Okay.
like a lot of names have the double letters in it. And my lazy American ass, like, I'm not trying to hang on that letter. I'm just trying to get it out, you know, like it's like I want to respect you and say your name correctly, but fuck, I feel like I'm wasting, you know, half a second with it. But I'm a quarter Finnish, and my dad said he used to understand Finnish when he was young because his grandma who was born in Finland and immigrated only spoke Finnish. And so like there's like some multiple reasons for it, but English is, they're so good with English out here that that makes it tough, you know, like that was kind of the challenge in Portugal at times too. And
Mhm.
you speak some Chinese too, or no? Am I making that up in my mind?
Cantonese, I do speak Cantonese.
Cantonese, okay.
So I mean, that's the thing with Cantonese. You see, like for a language, in order to keep it, you gotta practice.
Got to.
You gotta practice it. Like more than anything else. Like obviously, everything in life you gotta practice to get better at. But languages, you gotta get reps in every day and vocalize it, not just listening to it. You know. So I do I understand Cantonese? It's 100%. You know,
Yeah.
I understand everything that's going on. But then expressing myself, I've lost it throughout the years because I haven't gotten the reps in. You
Yeah.
know.
Well,
So,
and how much were you, when were you speaking, or like with your grandma you said then, or like, and so with, would that be your mom's side, or where were you speaking it the most, or like to learn it basically?
at home.
At home, okay.
That was the only time I was. Nobody else in Quebec City would speak Cantonese. So the
Okay.
only time I would get I would practice it was with my grandparents. You know, with my grandmother or my mom that would speak it to me, and that's it. So so obviously going out in that environment, I'm not trying to blame it on the environment. Obviously, I did make the effort,
Yeah.
to practice it, but in that French environment and then going to English school, and doing sports, I was doing other stuff, which is fine. But for
Yeah.
sure,
But
for
that's,
sure.
it's still, you got it though. Like if you wanted to get it back, like I'm sure you're a smart dude, you'd get it back and everything. But no, I was just curious. Like I said, language is such a interesting thing to me because fuck man, at the end of the day, we're all saying the same shit. Like, you know, we all saying, hey, how are you? What's going on? You know, like, but just the noises that we make are so different. And like just French, I mean, I'd like for my personal self, you know, my English is good, Portuguese, Spanish, and then I'd love to maybe my next, if just round out the Latin, although I guess there's Italian too, but get French in because with English, Portuguese, Spanish, and French, I mean, you can go
Hmm.
everywhere in North America, everywhere in South America, a lot of places in Europe, and a lot of places in Africa. And
Exactly.
you know, like, and speak it. And so I look at it like, even if you can't speak it perfectly, just being able to communicate. So at some point, I don't know, I'll do Finnish while I'm here now, and then French. Man, I gotta meet a girl. I gotta meet a girl. Or that's the easiest way to learn, bro. Tinder in
You
Portugal.
have that extra motivation. You got that extra because you got to communicate. I mean, communicating obviously for anybody is important, but I know for you, communication is top of that line. It has to be top of the line. You got to be able to speak to everybody. And yeah,
Yeah.
language is for sure. My next one is definitely Spanish. Like I studied Spanish in school, and I go into Mexico, obviously. And it's with languages, like get reps in. I'm telling you, like every time, like right now, example of today.
Yeah.
There's this Brazilian girl that works in my gym. So every time I try to get a rep in all out to Dubai, like whenever rep in, bro, like like a little something better than nothing, like I know she's Brazilian, so I'm not gonna pretend like I don't know a little bit of Portuguese, So
Yeah.
the Spanish people here, same thing. When you travel, same thing. Like I go to Mexico, I'm trying to make an effort in the restaurants when I'm negotiating Spanish. First of all, because I want a better deal, but also because because I want to practice, So I think it's and the people when it's their first language, they like that you make the effort to speak it. Definitely.
For sure. That's what I always tell people, like when they're traveling for the first time, is like, yo, at least learn thank you.
Try.
Before you get there, or when you're on the plane, man, wherever you're traveling to, you're gonna have a 5-10 hour plane ride, man. At least Google Translate thank you, because right now here in Finland, like I said, everybody's English is so good, and I need to just get it into my routine. Like I can say hello, my name is Joey, nice to meet you, like the bait, but it's still like, I guess a little how are you, but like when I'm like going through the checkout lines, whatever grocery store or wherever, and they like moi is hello, and they'll moi, and I'll say moi hello, like I really like hang on the hello to make sure they know, like, I'm sorry, I can't speak this Finnish, and they switch up so quick and they're so helpful with it, and I'm just like, damn, like I got to learn some shit, almost as like reciprocation.
Shit. Okay.
Hold on, let me check something. I got some stuff on my screen saying, okay, no, we're good. Sorry. But yeah, dude,
that's why traveling solo is so valuable, right?
Totally.
Traveling solo, when you're in that environment, you don't have a choice. Like, who are you going to talk to? You're not going to talk to your boy talking in English all the time. That's why I think a lot of people, they should travel solo, is to be really 100% in that culture and to be aware, be aware of your surroundings and what's going on. I think that's the truth. And there's obviously a lot of good benefits of traveling solo, and I know you do it too. And it's not all, not everyone that does it, but I really encourage it for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I really haven't done it as much as I would like. But it just totally makes you get out of that comfort zone. And whether even if just that you're at like a hostel or whatever, striking up a random conversation, and and you don't have to nowadays with our phones and like you could just talk to somebody on your phone, but then it's like, well, why the fuck are you here, and I think one of my favorite little times was when I was in Stockholm solo, and I ended up meeting this dude from Bosnia and his girl, but mainly like me and the dude really bonded. And I don't even know how we started talking, but like just having to get out of that comfort zone. I think I like he was swagged out with like a dope jacket, I think, that I really liked. And I was like, bro, that jacket's sick, and then I think we saw each other later in the night, and he's a guy I still talk to occasionally now. And no, but I'd like to get some more solo travels in and shit. I thought it was gonna be this winter. I had like a 2-3 monther in my mind to either Asia, and then once COVID canceled that, then I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna just like hitchhike around Europe, like, dude, and because hitchhiking, I've only done it once now by strictly necessity, but like hitchhiking now is like a thing that I'm like trying to get into, bro, just because it's like the ultimate, like, I mean, talk about trying to make a connection. Like, you got to really put out some good vibes to get a motherfucker to stop, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
who is this guy with the beard, bro? Who is trying to get in my car?
Exactly.
Nice.
That's what, like, I almost didn't make it to the airport on to come out here to Finland because I've messed up and got off at the wrong stop in the bus in Czech Republic, and I was in the middle. I was in a town of 400 people with no buses, no taxis, no nothing. I had like 2 hours to get to the airport. It was like I was an hour away. There was one option, and bro, so it was literally the first time I'd ever done it. I just stuck out my thumb and it took 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and a girl stopped and she literally drove me to the terminal doors, like, of the airport. We got out, like, we had an hour car ride together. Her English wasn't great. She was an older Czech lady. Older, I mean, she was probably like 40, 45, I'd say. But we'd both been in Nepal around the same time. Like, we had all these weird little connections. Bro, we hugged like we knew each other for years, saying bye to like, it was a special kind of thing. And so no, hitchhiking now, I I guess it fits, but like that's like one of my next things of like you're like it's you in the road, and like you are. So I've heard from some people you got to wait for an hour to 2 hours for a day, to a day before, and you're sitting there with your thoughts, like, and so it's almost like a weird little therapy in a way. And then the people that you meet along the way, they got to be a little bit crazy just like you are in order to pick your ass up. So like there's got to be some good stories. So I mean, with traveling, what, I guess we'll go two parts. First part of like, what's been your favorite place you've traveled so far?
Um, hmm. I mean, for sure, when I went to Thailand, I really enjoyed Thailand
Yeah.
because of everything that it brings. Just the cost of living, obviously the weather. What type of guy I am. I like that heat. That real heat. The water. Being able to scuba dive there.
Uh,
Islands, renting a motorcycle. Going on a motorcycle in the islands. To me, those are really simple things, but things that I feel happy and free. So the motorcycle, the scuba diving, they all have that, and obviously the accessibility to food, which Asia has all the time. I mean, it's there, it's always there, it's on the street, it's always there. So obviously I'm a big foodie for life, so I like eating. So that I really enjoyed. The people there were cool. Obviously, a lot of things to do. Also, uh,
where were you in Thailand?
I did obviously land in Bangkok.
Okay.
I went to Koh Tao for my advanced certification. I did my advanced open water diver. So I did my night
Okay.
dive. I used the compass, the buoyancy, that kind of stuff. Wreck dives. So I did that there because it's I mean, it's debatable. Some say it's the best place to do your certifications. It's good. It's very great, but I think it's the cost of it and the value of it is absolutely amazing for sure. So I
And
went to
so,
Koh Tao. I did that. I did that full moon party in Copayan.
okay.
So
Okay. I've heard of that. Yeah. I've heard of that.
um, and I went, and then I went to what's it called? Pai. I went to Pai. Bai. They call it Bai. I think
Oh,
Bai. It's basically Chiang Mai to Bai, and I did that on the bike, and that was honestly one of the coolest roads to drive in. You're going up, going in, and the beautiful nature, and that was a different vibe. The north of Thailand was a different vibe, more like hippie-ish.
okay.
Like spiritual hippie, laid back. Yeah, it was definitely that was a cool trip.
Yeah.
I,
The
I also
Thailand,
enjoyed
like,
Nicaragua. Nicaragua was different, but I enjoyed Nicaragua.
when'd you go there? I didn't know that. I remember you talking about the Thai diving thing, and uh, or first, when'd you go to Nicaragua? How and why why there?
I mean, everyone was going to Costa Rica, right?
Uh-huh.
So I mean, Costa Rica is a thing. We all know, like I don't know. It was just like Nicaragua is basically not I wouldn't say a little brother, but I would say like it's similar places, but I like it was supposedly cheaper, and it was, and
Okay.
it was yeah, eating the plantain, but renting motorcycle on the same kind of vibe, but in the Latin country, speaking
Yeah,
Spanish.
no doubt. No, I'm glad you said Thailand. I can throw in a shameless plug because I just started to um like edit and start to publish the vlogs from Thailand from like 2 years ago.
Uh,
And dude, that I think I was only there for like a week. I was in Bangkok for like 3, 4 days, and then we went to some small island, Koh Si Chang or something, which was like it was like 2 hour bus ride from Bangkok, then like an hour boat, from wherever we were. And dude, like you said, just renting a scooter, being on an island, and being able to eat, like get full on some food for like $2 of
yeah,
like fire food, fresh caught shrimp, that was caught yesterday. And I mean, yeah, for me, Thailand, that's like I said, my plan up until COVID this year was I wanted to do Thailand, or I wanted to first do like India for like a month, and then get back to Nepal for a little bit. And then, after going to Nepal with Sanjuk, like that's like,
that's nice.
got a spot in my heart. And then explore Thailand a little bit more. And then, I don't know, the other spots that interest me a little bit right now is like Sri Lanka and like Philippines. But that
Yeah.
just both island vibes, like both cool people, tropical. Um, I think growing up in Seattle and living most of my life there, as a young guy, like I'm trying to make up for all the sunshine I missed. Although now I'm fucking in Finland where the sun rises right now at like 9:30, 10, and sets at like 2:30.
Hey, that's that period right now. Okay, for it's a dark
Bro,
period type of.
it's dark by like 3 right now, 3:30. And you wake up at like 10, because my sleep schedule's all messed up because I don't really have to be up for anything right now. And so, I'll talk to somebody on the phone till like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. I'll get up at like 11, but you look out the window and the sun is just, or there's not even that much sun, but like just the light that's outside still feels like it's like 7 in the morning in my mind.
Uh-huh.
So, but then it'll switch up and we'll get to a point in summer where it's going to be light for like 21 hours a day, 22 hours a day. And that's wild. Like being outside at 11 o'clock and it being bright as day.
That's when you make the most of it. You're outside and you're taking all that vitamin D in.
Exactly. No. And, well, so then where are you trying to go next? Like once, man, not to get conspiratorial, I hope we're allowed to travel for fun at some point in the next year. And so if that does happen, like what's on your mind for next spot to go?
You talked about Philippines. I've been looking at because I want to get back to Asia for sure.
Yeah.
That's you know, yeah. I mean, for me, like Malaysia, whatever, Philippines, like Vietnam, they all have high interest. Obviously, the Philippines has, my favorite food is mango. I know the mangoes they're sensational. So that type of stuff. I know Vietnam, they have that rock climbing that you start in the water and then you dive in. So you're going really high up. So you start in the water, you're climbing, and then if you fall, you just fall in the water. Like that's super deep. So that kind of stuff, that those sports and heights, adrenaline type of vibes are there. And obviously, I think that the Vietnamese they make probably the best soups in the world. It's a
Yeah.
big statement, I know, but to me, I tasted a lot of soups, from a lot of people. So, and I think the Vietnamese are high level with the
Some
soup.
Portuguese people they're gonna be like, no, we got the best sopa.
Yeah, and then I go back to Thailand, but differently this time. Like I would go and probably go train a little bit over there, like do some
Like,
Muay Thai.
okay.
Like Jiu-Jitsu is probably the next thing. You know me. I like trying a bunch of stuff, different type of movement and learning from that. And then the next one is there's a spot right here, right next to my place that opened from the Brazilian guys that opened up a jiu-jitsu place. So for sure, I'm going to see what type of stuff they're doing because I mean everything translates. Like the rock climbing, I see the rock climbing and the jiu-jitsu being very similar. Like the core, the grip, the awareness, that type of stuff, the flow state. So that's why they're both sports that interest me.
Interesting. So what's the latest for you right now? Because I mean, I know I've followed a little bit on IG, but what's the new? Because I mean, shit, bro. When you were in the like true, when you were like climbing every day and doing some like true ninja shit, it was fun to watch on IG. Like that's all. I hate that's how I have to, but that's the way we keep up now. And so, what's your newest thing you're doing right now?
I mean, obviously, rock climbing is not that much of a thing in Florida since I live in a swamp, basically. Like I live in a hole of water. But the next challenge for me, like personally, obviously, I'm into coaching right now. Like I really enjoy coaching. That's what I do now, really. So, but personally, it's the triathlon sprint. I want to do the short distance first,
Okay.
because if you self-proclaim that you're a multi-sport guy, well, show it. Let's see the numbers. So the sprint is 750 in the water to start, and then it's 20 kilometers bike, and then it's 5 kilometers running. So it's very accessible. But not only I want to complete it, I want to perform in that type of distance. So my
So
mom.
okay, mm, how much time of each are we talking right there? Like how long I don't know how long's it taken to swim that long and then how long's it taken to bike that long, like help me out here.
I'm not even sure yet. I'm just practicing all three. I'm not sure. What's 750? I haven't been swimming that much recently.
What's a normal pool?
A pool is 20. So a normal pool is 25, and then the Olympic size pool is 50 meters.
Okay. Cuz I just like my gym out here, like we have a legit like it's sick. Like I want to get back into swim. I've never like been into swimming, but just I've used it as a warm up for a lot, like maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, whenever I've had a gym with a pool. And I
Mhm.
love, it works some crazy muscles that you can't work doing anything else. Um, and so my brain, I got to think of it like, okay, so 750's down back okay, that's
Yeah,
some swimming then. That's some
yeah.
swimming.
It's a pretty good it's a good distance because even for me 750 is a good distance because when I was swimming back in the day, like swimming was my first sport, right? So I started off as a swimmer. uh,
Mm,
I was doing 200, maximum 400. So I was like and I wasn't even a freestyle guy. I was a breaststroke and a butterfly guy because it's their swim, their type of swim where it's more explosive versus the rotations. You got to be a little longer, maybe not longer, but like they require more rotation. So if you're taller, you have longer arms, you have more reach. But all the compact swims, that's what the ones I was good at. So it's going to be a good challenge for sure. But swimming in general, man, I mean, swimming in general is, I think a lot of people should be doing it. I think everybody should be doing it because it's low impact. Like there's no impact in the water, right? And that it's a full body workout, super cardio. And even if you have cardio on land, it's not the same thing in the water. You work in your cardio and then, it's it's a
bro,
different ball.
if you mess up your cardio swimming, you're drowning. Like there's like some true, like if you're not breathing correctly while you're swimming, there's some dire consequences.
I'll hook you up with the swimming stuff, man. I got you.
Yeah, I'd like to. Like I said, the gym next to my crib now has, I mean, it's sick. Like I don't know how many plenty of lanes. They got a little like my new thing that I've been loving is there's just like a little. It's not a cold tub, but it's a set for better lack of a better word, like a little cold tub that you can walk, like has steps you walk down and can get like submerged up to here, or you can stay on a step and I'm only just getting into like belly and then maybe dunking, and then it's right next to the hot tub so you can do a little contrast. And um I think the older I'm getting now with playing, like, man, I'm not concerned about lifting as much weight as possible every time I get into the gym. You know, it's more the mobility, um, you know, the functional stuff, bands, just things that are like going to take care of me, because at the end of the day, like our joints only have so many miles on them. You know, they're like tires, and you can you can drive a lot, you can run a lot, but eventually those joints are going to wear out. And so it's like just trying to be smart about when I'm using my miles, and not overdoing it now, cuz man, I think that was my issue when I was younger. You know, it was like really overtraining, and then not even like giving myself the rest time to benefit from what I was actually doing, you know?
Uh-huh. That was one of the mentalities growing up too. You had to go hard, like you had to. What was it? That quote, "No pain, no gain," right? That
Yeah.
stuff we heard growing up. Well, now you realize, oh man, that's yeah, for sure. You have to go hard. Like for sure, you have to go hard when it's time to go hard. But then there's times, you got to take it slow. Maybe you do some mobility, you stretch, like you said, like contrast bath, whatever type of recovery your body, Epsom salt. There's so many stuff out there now that you can use to get better. You got to do it. And like you said, like you've been playing for years now, man. And I'm happy you're still playing. And
Thank you, bro.
yeah, you got to take care of the machine. You got to take care of, and that for sure the water being low impact for your ankles, for your knees, for your hips, for your shoulders. It's a great tool to use.
Yeah, what are you doing now? You mentioned coaching. Um, what's the latest with the coaching? Like what tell me about it.
Well, when I was in Montreal, I that was the first time me coaching, like how do we say it? Normal average Joes, like like
Okay.
people, not being an athlete in that athlete world box anymore. So I learned from that, like doing the group fitness, like functional with a lot of kettlebells, kettlebell workouts, sandbags, that type of stuff. And obviously, when you're working with that type of clientele, it's more of a obviously you correct their form because some of them you haven't been lifting. Us we know how to lift. Obviously, we've been lifting for a while with sport, so you're correcting a lot and you're encouraging, you're motivating because some of them they need motivation. But now working with athletes really is what for sure is what I geek out about. Like
Yeah.
because they understand the language and there's no more motivating. Like if you're here, you're obviously motivated to get better, and now it's being creative with how do I work with this athlete and how does this translate to the field, right? So that's what I've been working on a lot now is just finding ways to because I think it's very valuable. I like seeing that, like when you work with an athlete and then you see it on the field. Okay, we work this, and then it translates, and then it's like, okay, he's performing, and all this work really translate to that sport. I think that's pretty cool.
Do you have a specific sport that you're trying to work into, or like what's your like perfect world of like how you see it going, and like how you start maneuvering that avenue?
I'm open. I'm open to every athlete. Like I had a basketball athlete, golf athlete, boxing athlete, football athlete. Now hockey. I had a couple of hockey guys back home for swimming. So these guys, one of the guys back home in Quebec City, um, he was training the hockey guys, the pro hockey guys. One of my cousin, I was training my cousin in the pool also, but he understood that. Okay, well, these hockey guys, they're banging. Obviously, it's contact sport, right? So they're banging. We're doing, power lifting on these days. We need a time where we're still getting that heart rate up, but we're not banging.
Right.
So that's when I came in and I helped these guys with the hockey guys, and now full circle. I got one hockey guy right now here in Florida that I worked with this morning, and yeah, definitely. I mean, by doing all kinds of sports, getting okay, these guys they do this well. These guys, okay, the yoga people they do this well. How do I use this breathing to get better? Okay, I take this from them, and then you make your own pie, and then now I'm in. Obviously, I'm very curious. I like learning about this kind of stuff, but now it's using this voice to give back and to help others. That's really fired me up.
Who's been like an influence on like the coaching training world for you? Like you know, like for me, I have a dude that I trained with from senior year of high school to still every time I'm back home, Tim Manson. And I'm like, anytime I'm in the gym and like he was kind of like a, we'd say he's the scientist, the guru of like doing some unorthodox stuff that really works and that people don't think about, whether it be like little muscle type stuff or
Mhm.
whatever. Like, who you have somebody that is kind of your little guru, or like someone you're kind of stealing, whether it's him personally, or who's your guy?
Like it's like asking if you what's your favorite sport. I'm like, yeah, that's a hard question. Or what's your favorite food? To me, that's a hard
Yeah,
question.
okay.
But I mean, I like I said, like the same thing for sport. I take what I like from certain people. Let's say, I like listening to Joe Rogan, for example, for certain things. I listen to Goggins for certain things. I listen to George St. Pierre for certain things. The way he does, the way he approaches martial arts, and the way he trains, and how he translated his, not everyone was doing gymnastics, obviously, swimming, gymnastics, sprinting to get better at fighting. But some of those guys, I like their vision. I like their approach for sure.
How's your handstands doing? That's How are you doing with the handstands, bro?
Get their reps.
Their reps, yeah.
Get their
Yeah,
reps.
that's the funniest thing about, that's been my little thing over the last like 4 years probably.
Yeah.
And it all started because when I was in like Prague or Copenhagen for, so damn near literally, let's see, when would this have been? This would have been 2017 or 2016 Christmas, I think, when Colin, Philippe, and I went to Prague and Copenhagen for Christmas and New Year's. Philippe was like super into headstands at the time. And so we'd like do headstands. And then one day, randomly at the house in Copenhagen, the Airbnb, we started doing handstands against the wall. And it was like, I was kind of the worst at it. Or I think, and I was like, man, fuck this. I was like, and so from just like that competitive nature, I was like, yo, I don't know what switched in me. I was like, I'm gonna become fucking good at handstands, and started working then. And now like I'm getting to a pretty damn good level over 4 years. But everyone will be, I'll post the whatever on the story, and someone's like, so what's the secret? Like, tell me, how do I do it or whatever? I was like, it's easy. Just get a minute a day upside down for 4 years. Like, it's easy, like there's no magic solution to it, bro. Like, just do it every day for 4 years and then you get pretty good at it, so it's I answered your story question the other day of like how, ways to improve, and by no
Yeah.
means am I some handstand coach, but um the it's fun now to see, like, I mean, you do some shit that I can't even dream of doing, but it's like when like I get like this little pride. I gotta brag a little, like, okay, I can do some shit Danny can't do, like it's like, yeah, because whether swimming, fucking climbing, all that stuff, you're in like a league of your own with your like versatility in a way. And I'm like, okay, I got one thing, but like that's just because of the reps, it's only the reps.
Yeah, I'm trying to like movement. I'm trying to get right away. I don't want to wait. I'm like, how do I? That's why I asked the question. I'm like, I'm trying to get this right now. I'm trying to hold this right now. Like, I'm not trying to do 4 years every day rest. I'm trying to get this right now. Like, this is an easy move. I see all these girls. Like, I work at a gym, and when I work in Montreal, I see all these girls doing it. All these guys, everyone's doing it easy. All the good people I work with. I'm like, that's the same thing as you. Like, same kind of situation. I'm like, come on, how come I can't do this thing, man? Like, I gotta be able to do this thing. Everyone's doing it like it's nothing.
And you're like,
Nothing.
I know I'm stronger than, like, I can do, like that's the thing I love about handstands now is like, bro, I can probably right now I can probably only bench press maybe 200 pounds. I haven't maxed out benching in forever, but it's not that high. I can't even squat that. My clean is probably my best lift. But anyway, I'm not very strong lifting wise at anything. But then, and I don't look too strong just in general, but it's like I can do that and hit the crow to the press to
That's amazing.
like the splits to wind around. I can be upside down for like 30 seconds and then go back down back into the crow. And I'll admit I like kind of flexing in the gym doing that, especially when there's like a big strong tough guy who's like walking around. It's like, yeah, but you can't do that one though, huh, bro? Like that's like a weird little one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. You're still lifting though?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I dude, for the lockdown in Czech Republic for when was it? Like October, November, and then I moved here at the beginning of this month. For like 2 months, 2.5 months, the gyms were closed. So I wasn't doing anything. I eventually found like a pull up and dip bar in the woods near my house, but like within like a week or two of finding it, like every day was like 30 or like 1 degree and raining. And so like I wasn't going out to do some pull-ups in that weather, like I was chilling. And so I'm
Yeah.
getting back, like now I'm probably I think on like week 3 of getting back into it, but still 3 months off. And I've had to really kind of tell myself, like we said, is like, okay, I don't need to overdo it. Like I don't need to be in there for like my warm up and cool down needs to be about the same amount of time as my actual lift is. But
Mhm.
it's just programmed in my mind. But yeah, I'm right now just trying to ease into it and probably lifting just like 2-3 times a week, making sure I get my mobility stretching in like 5-6 times a week. And then as it progresses, probably get to that 4 or 5 lifting, but then I want to throw swimming in and,
Mhm.
um, but yeah, still touching a little weights. I'm finally actually like, I neglected biceps and triceps for so long, bro, just because no matter how much I did pay attention to them, nothing ever happened. Like it was just a waste of time for me. But I've kind of gotten back into doing it a little bit. And I don't know if like maybe I'm just finally maturing at age 30. Like, but like I finally now like am able to get a little bit of something that'll like stay even if when I was younger, if I missed 2 days in the gym, the last 2 weeks of work I just put in was gone, like at least from a look standpoint. And
Mhm.
now it's like it sticks around for a little bit longer. So I'm just trying to balance it, like I said. Like, and dude, you inspire me in that sense of like just doing different movements, whether it be, you know I got like a little kind of personal 25-minute yoga flow that I like to do, get into handstands for 20-30 minutes, kind of a little band stretching routine. I've found this like hip mobility thing through YouTube that I really like, that it takes another 10 to 20 minutes, that
Mhm.
if I knock those like 4 things out, it takes about an hour, and it doesn't necessarily feel like I'm getting bigger and stronger, but like I'm getting better,
Yeah.
and like with throwing now and quarterback shit, like I've realized that, I mean, it's about hips, core, and a lit and little muscles in the shoulders. It's not doing some of those big lifts and like getting my legs right definitely helps, but all the secondary things have to be almost on the same level as the primary things. And in the past, it was 80% primary and 20% secondary. And now it's probably more like 50-50 for me.
Mhm. Big QB. Still
Yeah.
throwing all hips, man. Core,
All
that rotation, like if you're doing all, pile of press, the rotations. 'Cause for sure, like even though you don't need to lift as much, I still think deadlifts are, you got to do your deadlifts because as we age, and you said you're saying at 30 you feel better than ever. I can say the same thing because I think we're at certain, we got a certain maturity, and then there's nutrition that comes into place. Like we're eating better, so obviously that's gonna help your energy levels and your performance. But yeah, because the only way to, like, how do you say, the only way to not battle, but to keep that bone density is
Yeah.
by lifting some type of weight. It doesn't have to be like super heavy, but you need to be like lifting, doing some deadlifts for sure.
For sure. Yeah. The hex bar deadlift is what if, hex bar deadlift, full clean and back squat, is like lifting, and then shoulder press,
Mm-hmm.
and then I if I'm going back, I probably am neglecting chest a little bit just lately because for throwing it's definitely secondary in a way, kind of. But
Row.
yeah, going row or dumbbell, or dumbbell press, single arm type of stuff. Trying to almost everything I do kind of incorporate some core aspect into it, even so single arm bench with a dumbbell, like you got to activate the core to stay balanced, or my favorite shit now for back is like what is it, Renegade Row, like single arm, I think Renegade Row. I'll use like kettlebells, and I'll get into kind of that plank position
Uh-huh.
and get one, row it up and hold for 10 seconds here. And bro, that just fires everything from head to toe, and then hit like 10 rows after it. And it's just like the whole work smarter, not harder, like we can knock out a full core kind of thing while I'm also doing the back. Now I
Yeah.
don't need to stay in the gym for an extra 30 minutes, which the time isn't my thing. It's just I would rather be able to, there's other stuff. I could spend that 30 minutes doing handstands instead.
Yeah. And anyways, like isolating the muscles, like the bodybuilders do. Like that's why at the beginning, like back in the day, like we're training like bodybuilders, but the reality is we're not. So by doing this functional full body workouts, it translates a lot more to the sport, and that's what ultimately, ultimately you're training because you want to be better at your sport, right?
For sure. For sure. And dude, for me, like, I mean, I wanted to get into this subject and is, dude, I'm starting now with the experimentation now of the microdosing. And bro, like that's like next level type of stuff. And um you're we've talked, privately about it, and I don't know if you want to get into it now. I hope, I'd like to talk about it, of dude, it's a performance enhancing drug, whatever you want to is. And um even if that has like incredible lasting effect. And I've really only dabbled lately, especially now we're like an hour into it, so yeah, we're good. People, like I don't love like openly talking about this shit, but at the same time I'm trying to kind of change the um perceptions on it,
Mm-hmm.
because it has just such a negative connotation to it. um but like I've really only dabbled with the LSD stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and never done much. But the last year or so, what have experimented with microdosing, either like before going to the gym at times, or um, never like at practice, but like maybe once or twice just at like a private throwing session. And dude, like there is something to, I mean, we know that there's a mind body connection that you get with it that translates once you're not on it. And so I was wondering, what was your like starting point with like the psychedelic world?
Starting point. So I started recently because it was a Olympic athlete from Montreal. So like, you want to come train with me? Let's run track. I'm like,
Okay.
okay. I haven't seen her in a long time. She's a high level athlete, and she's like, yeah, you want this? And she gives me it. She takes it. Like, what is it? It's mushrooms. I'm like, oh, you take that before training? I'm like, yeah, you get focused, you get dialed in, and it's good to take when you're outside in the sun training. Do it all the time. It's great. Try it, and it was great. That's how it really started for me. Like,
Aha.
from that type of source. I'm like, obviously the media portrays it in a way where like, oh wow, you take this stuff, man, you're gonna be in a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you're some druggie with dreadlocks and, like, yeah, it's crazy.
the media, they don't want you to open your mind, open your heart. That's why it's such a powerful tool, because it's provided by Mother Nature. How are you banning stuff that nature provided for you to use in a way that's it's there for a reason, like it's not man-made business. Like, I don't do like that, like for that type of stuff. I don't do any kind of man-made substances anymore,
Yeah.
almost. I I stick to the fungi kingdom. Like the mushrooms. Um, I've been always, like, even without knowing, I've always been like attracted to the mushrooms because of my culture. Like the Chinese, we use mushrooms in so many ways, in the soups, in the food we use, like with the veggies, they're going to be mushrooms and all kinds, all kinds of mushrooms. And it's been they know the power, of the fungi. There's so many kinds that can help you with your health, with longevity. And now we have these that we can use for microdosing. And obviously, if you take a good amount, you can do good spiritual, like spiritual self-healing, self-discovery type of stuff, that
Right.
can do that. But the microdosing is not necessarily for that. It's just to enhance, like you said, enhance your performance in whatever you're doing. Because what it's going to do, it's going to obviously, so your creativity is better, you're flowing, you are authentic to who you really are. So all these points, your focus is better, your social interactions are better. And that's I think that's, I mean, if everyone would be on that, and it's because it's not, like, not legal in most places. And now thankfully Oregon opened the path for that, right? So Oregon, they understand, like the awareness, the consciousness of that beautiful fungi medicine is starting to get there, So I think if a lot of people would use that instead of taking all those man-made pills, we would be better, more, more connected to our own self, more connected to the world. And yeah, just better.
Yeah. No, bro, my I had Craig Conant, this comedian, on the podcast a month ago or so, and he's sober now. But he just started to microdose again, but before he got, so I think he's been sober for 6 years or 7 years now. But before that, I mean, he was drinking a ton, pills, perks, I mean, anything and everything, he said, for the most part. But he said on the podcast that it was every time he would do mushrooms, like, he would get, well, or he said the first idea that he had, like the first inkling of, like, bro, you need to get sober, or like you need to stop what you're doing, because, like, was when he was on mushrooms. And then every time from then he would do it, and he'd be like, bro, I just feel like, you know, I'd be like, what are you doing with your, like, you go hug your mom, like, stop doing this shit. He's like, but then I'd come down from it and I'd go fucking buy 5 oxys, so he's like, it took me a while to get to that point. But he said he finally just got back into the like microdosing it, because, like you said, bro, it's natural. It just, the Cat Williams skit, it's just a plant, it grows like that, like it's, and it has had, now I'm so stoked that Oregon did, decriminalize it or legalize it. I'm not exactly sure, but it still, like, gets portrayed as, like we said, not in this like beneficial, helpful, medicinal kind of way, but gets, it's like, oh, it's a druggie's paradise over there, because they also decriminalized like everything. And so it kind of like almost, it's great they did it, but it almost like threw it into the crack and cocaine and meth category because they all let them go together. And it's like, no, dude. He said a big reason he's microdosing now is because he doesn't want to take antidepressants. He doesn't want to take this stuff because I've been doing a little bit of research on it now, and I can't fully, use the right words, but essentially, like, we have receptors in our brains that when you take, like, when you're depressed, that one receptor is like not regulated. I'm going to kind of butcher this, but when you take an antidepressant, it just shuts that receptor off. And so like you don't end up having those problems mentally because that thing's just like shut down. Whereas the site what's the
Oh, the Cybin?
psilocybin, yeah, just blank there. Like the psilocybin actually like reacts with that receptor and like alters it for the better, and so like it's truly healing you, and like making you see things differently. And like I've only done shrooms one time, um and I did just I don't know how much I did. I was in Venice Beach. It was the week after I did LSD for the first time, ironically too. But like, bro, that time was so like, we're at Venice Beach Drum Circle, and the way I did, like, I wasn't like tripping, seeing anything, but like I could just feel that like I was giving off this vibe that, like I'm not a super comfortable dancer in public, like that's not my jam. I could talk in front of people, but dancing in front of people, I'm not super self-confident, I'm self-conscious really. And all of that was gone. Like, and I don't, again, I don't know how much it was, but it wasn't a lot. All of that was gone. I'm gigging in the Venice Beach Drum Circle, and I could feel people wanting to like be around me. Like I could feel like my vibe was attracting other, like it was like almost I couldn't see the vibes, but was so aware of them.
Mm.
And I like to test shit out. And so I'd literally, the drum circle's big. And so I'd like go from one spot to the other around the circle. And like there were people that I know were kind of following me around. Like it sounds crazy in a way, but I could, like, I was testing it out, like, and I could feel like me attracting people. And so, no, for me, it's been how you describe, like I said, I've only been able to get LSD. And so that's what I've been
Mm.
experimenting with, but I would prefer to do the natural, even they're kind of in the same family and I hear similar experiences.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I'm just super curious. And so like, what's been your kind of like thought process with experimenting with it? And like, what have you done and what have you noticed from it? Like in terms of like, are you taking, I think what we talked about it once, I think maybe a few months ago, like point 0.3, point 0.4, or maybe Craig was saying it, like point 0.3, point 0.4 grams, couple times or like 2 days in a row, or like walk
Exactly.
me through what's your strategy?
So both LSD and the shrooms, they work in the same way, right? Obviously, I mean, when you're doing LSD, the thing with LSD is that obviously it's artificial, but with the we know with that square, you don't not for sure what's in it. So you have to
Totally.
put water and stuff like that. And if you take it in water, you're for sure knowing what's the dose in it. Even there, you don't know, but
Yeah.
like you're not for sure. But going so basically when you take I take point 0.2 usually of
Okay.
The shoes I take is the Golden Teacher. That's what it's called, and it's great. I do point two or point four depending on the day, depending on what I'm doing. And then exactly because it stays in your body and it has effects couple days after you take it. So you'd say you take it today, you take 2 days off before you can retake it.
Ah, okay. So it's like a day, couple
One,
days off. Okay.
2 days off, 1, 2 days off.
And then so that's you'll do it what, essentially 3 times in a week then. And then what do you take, like a week off, or like, and then how's the like
I don't take it. I don't take it always. I mean, I take it when I want to, like when I
yeah.
decide today is a day when I want to take it and work on this stuff. Work, either I'm in nature, either I'm on leisure or I'm focusing on some type of work, sport, or physical activity. I'm like, oh, today's a good day to take it. Okay, when did I take it last? Okay, I can take it. I take it.
And then what have been some of the things you have been doing, like training wise then, with like, are you climbing? Are you, bro, you should, for handstand improvement, do a week of get that schedule going with some handstands.
For sure.
But like what have been your training focuses when you are taking it for like a benefit from that way?
I try with obviously you want to do it with physical activity or sports that you're comfortable with so you can really dial in, right? Because if you're new to something, you don't want to be taking it like getting high, right? You're not
Yeah.
trying to get high on weed. If you're doing something for the first time, you're not going to get it. You have to be like for rock climbing. You said rock climbing. That's a good example. Like I for sure use it for rock climbing because
Yeah.
it's a type of sport where it's not like, okay, you're doing in this movement repetitive in a repetition way. It's like, oh no, you got to find the puzzle. This is the puzzle, right? It's a puzzle that you got to solve. So by using the mushrooms, you can see it in a different way. You're being more creative and you're better at it. And that's why ultimately I used to smoke weed before climbing. Same reason, right? I
Uh-huh.
used the weed in that type of in the same like the artist now. That's all I got from the artist. Like why the artist is smoking so much weed? It's to get in that creative zone for them. So yeah, definitely all types of training. Honestly, Joey, like you can microdose and you're just better at everything. Well, you feel like you said, well-being. You feel good, you feel connected, and then, yeah, you feel focused. You feel great.
Yeah, no, I've been, now that, because I have been more experimenting with it and noticing like the benefits from a football perspective and like throwing the ball. But
Mhm.
um like I said, not doing it for practice or anything, but just like if um take it on an off day, like microdose on an off day, and maybe go to the gym, maybe just chilled, and just maybe kind of like visualize what I'm gonna be doing. And then
Mhm.
that next day or that next week, like, okay, I want the ball to go there. Like the ball goes there. Like there's no second thought. And I think there's also a combination. I think I'm getting close, or maybe I've gotten to it, of like the 10,000 hours of like throwing a football, like I'm getting to that part also. But dude, I noticed it. Well, it took me a while to notice like the actual benefits of it because, like I said, I did LSD the first time. Um, when was it? In last year, 2019, right before I went to Finland the first time.
Mhm.
And when I was in Finland, like, and this is like a month or so after, I'd done it, but I was throwing the ball the best I've ever thrown it. I also had a really great off season in Orlando, working out with all the NFL guys and being, like there were multiple things happening. But then, um, while in Spain, ended up kind of randomly getting some, and would kind of take it on like a bye week or whatever, go hiking, go to a viewpoint, and then
Yeah.
that next week kill it. And then the lockdown happened in Spain, and so I didn't throw a football for like 2 months or so. And again, somehow randomly found some LSD again. So during lockdown, doing a little bit of that. And
Uh-huh.
then I get to Czech Republic, and day one, like, it's like I hadn't taken any time off. Like I could just, oh, the ball right there over the shoulder. Okay. Oh, back shoulder. Oh, right here on his face. Like it's wherever. And so I started being like, yo, there's something to this, like there's something going on right now. And so then that kind of continued throughout that last season. And so anyway, then I started to research this shit because I was like, I can't be the only one, and then I think we had some random conversation, or maybe you'd said it before. I don't know. I just remember we had a random conversation on Instagram, and you're like, yeah, bro, uh, I think I asked you what's the latest or whatever, and you just said microdosing, like one word. And I was just like, like, oh my God. And so I start researching this shit, and there's not a lot of information on it, and that's a part of the reason I'm trying to be a little more open about it, even though it has this taboo thing to it. Because, but anyway, the whole point of me saying all of this was I found this article from I don't know how long ago, and I think I sent it to you. Maybe I didn't. Um, but talking about how almost all the extreme sports people throughout history, whether it be big wave surfers, backcountry skiers, snowboarders, free climb, rock climbers, um, you know, you name it, it's microdosing has always been in those cultures, but it's never been publicized and it's never really been talked about except in this little article. And so when it's like I'm just connecting all these random little, like we started this whole thing. It took me like 3 months to realize, like, yo, Danny's been rock climbing. Then he said microdosing, like they're, oh, I bet he's connected those. And and then like with us scheduling this podcast and getting it all together, it's just I've made it just made me really curious to talk to somebody else who's like tapped into this little world, because it is, but it's like this kind of secret hush hush world, like that. Even right now, I feel kind of weird talking about it because I don't, dude, I haven't smoked weed. I mean, since I did LSD for the first time, I haven't really been smoking weed that much anymore. I would consider myself a career stoner, but I'm not a stoner anymore, like, but I'm still like concerned of me talking about this, of like how someone might perceive me, and so, but, and in that same regard, I want to change that shit.
Yeah.
So,
I'm definitely on you
thank you
with
for sharing.
definitely on you with that, and I think it's important now that we're not scared to say what we really believe in. I think it's key where everyone's hiding stuff and not really being trying to not hide who they really are. No, man, this is what if you this is what you believe in, then say it out nice and loud and explain why.
No, totally. Yeah.
And sports performance is very interesting. Yeah, for sure. Like for sure, there's a common denominator, the microdosing with the sports performance, and in those type of sports, as you said, that it requires sports that require certain level of mental state. That's not it's not always going to be the same thing going on. You got to be able to adjust and read and react and analyze. Guaranteed, this stuff is helping, man.
Well, yeah, shit. I mean, what Doc Rivers or whatever in the 80s threw the no-hitter on it, in MLB. Like he he wasn't doing it on purpose before the game, like according to the story. But I mean, that's a pretty crazy story in itself, that like one of the, I don't know how many no-hitters have been thrown in the MLB, but on at least one of them, dude was on some LSD. And it's like that gets that should be a poster child, for this topic of conversation, that it just kind of gets like pushed under the rug because, like you said, man, I ultimately, it's such like a hippie thing to say, but like if everyone did a little shrooms or a little LS, and I mean just a little bit,
Mhm.
not tripping their balls off, although that might help also, but it would that would probably help too. But just a little bit, bro, like to the point where you can't even really feel it, it would make this world a better place. It would open some eyes and like give some perspective that um at least in the States I know we really need. I know right now it's a interesting time, like you alluded, that we got to speak our mind. And in this time where it's like you say one thing and you might agree with X, Y, and Z, but you don't agree with A, no, you're out. See, we don't like you anymore. See, we don't listen to anything you say. And um, yeah, it's so no, I'm glad we got into that because, like I said, I've been wanting to get that off my chest, kind of public, even though this isn't publicly, it is publicly, but
Yes.
it's such a like taboo thing. And I guess Rogan talks about it, and other comedians and stuff talk about it, but in the true like athletic world right now, it's not really talked about. And I'm convinced, I don't know if you've been watching like the Pat McAfee show at all, with when Aaron Rodgers, he comes on the McAfee show every Tuesdays.
I'm
Uh,
not. Is that good?
Bro, I mean, in terms, I have like two podcasts that I watch religiously, Tim Dillon and Theo Vaughn. But besides those 2 hours of podcasting, the 40 minutes of Aaron Rodgers with McAfee is, I think, the best thing on the internet. And but I'm convinced, after, like, Aaron Rodgers is now my favorite player for sure after listening, because like he talks to them just like he's like we're talking now.
Yeah.
And but I'm convinced that Rodgers has also found this world we're talking. He hasn't said anything about it, but I'm convinced that Rodgers has also, like, the way he's playing this year. I mean, granted, he's a freak and has always been a freak the way he throws the ball, but this year he's on another level. And just the way he kind of talks about, he doesn't ever say spirituality, but he's talking about spirituality of like finding the love for the game again and bonding with the guys and being one. And like it's right up this alley. So I'm convinced, like, I think that it's much more out there than people really know. And it'll be interesting when it finally does come out that um actually, on that thing, I'm hijacking the conversation right now, but um one of my buddies I was talking to last night, who he's good friends with like a sports psychologist, kind of physiotherapist, like a all-in-one kind of guy. I guess there were a couple guys in Jacksonville that, like, NFL guys that were taking shrooms before practice quite a bit. And it's just that there's something there, man. Like, I think it's we're gonna look back in like 20 years maybe, or 30 years, and be like, why hadn't we been doing this? Like, why, from all sorts of different love, from the antidepressant,
Yeah.
like personality, emotional way, to the physical performance avenue. That's what's so crazy to me about it. This is my first thought of thinking this, that it covers such a wide spectrum
Mhm.
of usage, that for it to be classified as, like I say, like some druggie with dreadlocks, and you, like you said, that you're in a cartoon, when, yeah, take enough, that's what's going to happen. But like, in the right amount, that's not at all what's happening.
Exactly. It's just so why it's taboo and why it's not out is because the media they don't want that out because they want they have like they have another agenda. Like they
For
don't
sure.
have that's what we realize, with this pandemic, right? You look at some of these governments taking decisions. You're like, okay, these guys are doing this type of decision. What does that say about them? It says that they don't have your best interest at heart, clearly, right? So it's very clear. Like, there's no more secrets now. So with this type of pandemic, like in this type of crisis, you see who people really are, right? So you're taking these decisions. Okay, so you're opening up all the stuff that makes money for you. So money is more important for you than my actual health. Okay, I see you now. So it's that same type of, those type of medias that they don't want you to know about this information. Like, if you're gonna take that and not take your pills from the pharmacy, that's not good for business, brother. So for sure, like these, that's why I don't watch this type of news television, because it's legit propaganda. Like, they don't have, like, that's what you need to realize. They don't have the same agenda as you.
Straight up. No, you nailed it on the head. And bro, and that's honestly, I'm starting to like slightly question like the marijuana field because it seems very, even though I fully believe, and I'm not going to talk bad about weed, but if and but you can definitely abuse it. I mean, just like anything you can. But right now in this pandemic times, for all of a sudden now in the US, there's a federally like sponsored bill. My vocabulary is not right with this type of stuff, but um, that to legalize weed federally, it's like that's a really strange timing. When we've been like putting people in jail, using it to put people in jail, which was its own little agenda for so long. And now it's all of a sudden it it's now an essential business for one, and now we're gonna make it um legal everywhere when I can for sure, and I know not everybody, but for me personally, I can get a lack of motivation and I can get, a little comfortable in it. And the timing is a little strange when you know they don't want people to really stand up and be active in the ways that they want them to be. And so it's like, with all what you said, like I've really started to like analyze the marijuana industry, and this is coming from me, who like, shit, I've smoked and sold weed almost everywhere I've lived, like I was part of the industry. But
We smoke something together, like,
yeah, I mean, like, Portugal was fun for a reason, bro. Like,
you can smoke anywhere in Portugal.
yeah, there's no rules in Portugal. And but even with that, like, in all seriousness, it's like I'm glad you said it, like the agenda, because I'm totally on board with what you're saying. And I find myself, even though I would like to think I really don't give a fuck what people think, like I know you start to get into this conversation, and now if you're diverting from the norm, you're now a conspiracy theorist, or you're a anti-vax, you're an anti whatever, you're some you're crazy, you're something. And it's like, you know i I don't want to put into that box, but at the same time, like, I'm glad you said, like, we got to just start speaking up. And I'm fully on board and agree with you.
Yeah, using your voice to, trying to, I mean, your immune system is everything. So why is the US so uh, getting so sick with the COVID? Is because you're inflamed and you're
Dude,
not eating right. I'm trying to promote vitamin D, physical activity, nutrition. So that's how you get strong, really. Not wearing masks, staying at home, staying sad, and like locking down the everything and putting people out of business. And and essential businesses is alcohol, weed, Costco, Walmart. Oh, okay, I see you now. I
yeah,
see you.
you
That's
can
what I see.
lottery tickets,
Yeah.
like you can, yeah. And you look at the countries that are really continually hit hard by it, and it's the fattest country. I mean, generally speaking, it's the most overweight countries. And up until this point, and I'm not saying all of this is planned or whatever, but the US was, you know, for 10 years it felt body positivity. And I don't believe in like fat shaming somebody at all, but like we shouldn't be promoting this idea that like being fat and out of shape is healthy, because it's not fucking true. Like it isn't healthy. You're not gonna be able to survive these things. And then, everyone talks about, there hasn't been one talk. All the talk is wear a mask, stay inside, and social distance. There's not one talk about eat some fruits, eat some vegetables, get some vitamin D, take some magnesium, zinc, ginger, all the things that can actually help you.
Education, man. You're trying to educate. Yeah, it's a good challenge, and that's one of the things I learned about when with coaching is that if you want to help someone, don't say don't say what they can't do, right? Try to influence them and being like, so you don't, instead of like saying, with the family members, it's one of the hardest to coach, right? Instead of saying don't drink that, don't drink this soft drink, don't drink this crap, so that doesn't ever work. So if you tell them what to do, that'll never work. You have to say, you have to show them first off, and you have to coach them in a way that's like, this is good for you, you should be like, this is good for you, this helps you in this type of way, and then you leave it at that. I mean, you can't tell anyone what to do. We're all grown ass
Yeah.
people, and you take our own decisions. But by being educating that type of way, I think it has a better impact. Better impact, definitely.
Yeah, no, to that degree, like the leading by example is like the best way to do it. And it like everyone's gonna take their own time and their own experience in order for it to click. You could show someone all the facts and studies about why doing X is bad for you or why doing X is good for you. But until they're ready to accept it, you know, it doesn't really matter, because like it ultimately, I think, we can influence people, but very rarely can you convince people anymore, and so like ultimately I think people need to convince themselves of something. For me, man, with smoking weed, for example, like I knew for the last couple years of doing it, with the podcast and the vlog world, like I knew it was holding me back from being as productive as I wanted to be, just because of the way that I was using it. Because I don't think that everyone who uses it like me, it's it was just my personal thing. But
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't ready to not be using it. And for what, multiple things, it finally kind of came to the head of like, all right, I'm finally ready. But it took some years, and even though in my mind the whole time I knew, you're gonna probably be better and like more productive, and you know, if we're not doing it every single night, and as soon as I get home from whatever I get home from, and so no, man, it just takes time, I think. And I think with everything we're saying right now, I think, not to pat ourselves on the back or toot our own horns, but I think we're somewhat a little ahead of the time right now. I think, and there's obviously people that were much before us, but with the psychs and the, nutrition and just health, like whether it be physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, like being conscious of it is the first step. And I think we are maybe overall just like one step ahead, but you can't really just tell people about it. It's just, you just got to continue to do it, and then it's like when people ask you, then you can be like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, this is what I've been doing. You try it. If not, no.
Exactly. All you gotta do is ask, right?
All
But yeah, and I think we're like we're at this stage because we keep an open mind, right? Because if you're married to your ideas and, oh no, this is how we do it, this is how we've been doing it, and this is the right way, then you're resistant to change, right? So you can't adapt. So you got to be open. So that's one of the things I've been working on a couple of years now. Is, when you listen to somebody, maybe like I have my idea about something, but I'm open to his. Like I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just listening to see what he has to say, and this might be the next thing. I'm not married to my idea. Like even though I really truly believe in it, I'm ready to change. Like if you tell me something that's really good, I'm like, oh, you know what, Joey, that's interesting. I look into it, and maybe it's something's right. And obviously, nutrition world is, everyone said this is it. This is the
Yeah.
this is the diet for you. No, brother, like, like these guys are trying to sell stuff. You're like, okay, I see it because I'm in that world, right? But that's not how it works. How it works is that you try it. If it works for you, great, do that. That's good for you. Continue. You feel better. You feel more energy. You can live. Like good. We react with a different type of being. So just go with, try stuff. Be curious. Try okay, vegan. Okay, let's try vegan. Okay, keto. Okay, intermittent fasting. Okay, it might be good for you. Might not be good for the other person. Try it out. Keep an open mind, and that's how you find your own recipe for health, right? Health
For
and success.
sure. Yeah, no, it goes to all avenues, but like the diet thing is such a good example of that, of like people just like want, and I don't know if this is the right way to put it, but like want conformity. Whether it be the vegan, the keto, the intermittent fasting, the meat only diet, the whatever, there's all these different ways to put it, but it's like you said, everyone is like, no, this is the one. It's shit, bro. It's kind of like religion. Everyone's like, yo, it's like, well, what about that person over there? It's their thing over there is working good for them. Like their their thing over there's working, but it's different than this. So how is this one the one? But they're saying that one's the one. Like it's weird, man.
Yeah,
But I think that changing your mind is like one of the most beautiful things you can do nowadays, and like one of the most mature and one of the most like, I don't want to say courageous because that puts it into like some, like people who are like fighting fires. Those are courageous people. But like nowadays, to like change your mind and openly admit you were wrong on something is kind of courageous. Like again, I don't want to. That's probably too strong of a word, but and that's coming, bro.
it's just strength though. Like
Yeah,
being able to say you're wrong. I think that shows power. I think it does.
and saying I don't know shows power. Like admitting ignorance, or admitting, not even ignorance, but admitting just not knowing something. And bro, this is coming from, I love to be right. Like I fucking love it. Like it's one of my favorite things in the world. But ultimately, I want the situation to be right more than I want myself to be right. You know what I
Understand
mean?
about understanding.
Yeah, exactly. Well, kind of, I think we got to probably I try and keep it at about 2 hours, but a thing I want to ask you, um, just, and maybe we covered it already, but like, is there anything we haven't talked about that's been on your mind lately that you just want to get out there? This is a question, you're the first person I've asked this, but it's a question I'm going to start asking more people. And if not, then I got some other ones. But is there anything on your mind that you just been rolling around the dome that you want to kind of get out there off your chest or out into the world?
It's not. I mean, it's just a little something. But I mean, no matter what people say about you, do what's good for you. Do what you believe in, and believe in yourself. Because everything else is just noise. Like sometimes we look for answers elsewhere on the outside. All the answers are in you. Like you have all the answers for your best life, and what's good for you, for your success, and what makes you happy. So do that. do that. That's it's very simple, but I think it's key in these moments right now to to know who we are and to go in that direction and do everything to towards that. Definitely.
I love that, man. No, I agree. I'm trying to constantly tell myself that, and you know, the you're the star of your own movie quote, and like really truly believe that, and just taking the responsibility for yourself in turn gives you the ultimate power.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like that message, what you just said, is super critical right now, given like people, and I'd say this people, very general blanket statement of like waiting to be told what to do by the government, or waiting, we need the vaccine, or we need the this, or what diet should I do, or what workouts should I be doing, CrossFit, should I be doing, Olympic lifting, should I, you know, where should I, all of these things that like, if you can just get in tune with yourself, you're gonna get the answer eventually, and like deep down you really know the answer, your soul like knows. And so I mean, that's beautiful, bro. I like that a lot.
And where you give out, I mean, let's try to help each other during these times. It's it's hard for a lot of people, business wise, emotional, relationship, all that stuff. So if you can help some people, give some of your time, to cheer someone up, or let's give some love to, that's what we're all about, right? You got to give love, and that's how you lead with success, and that's how you if you put love to the universe. We talk about the universe a lot. If you put love out there, good things are going to happen to you. That's how it works. It's very simple, yet some people, I don't know, they don't see it, or I don't know, bro. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's very simple. I mean, if you give good, you do good, automatically you're good. Like, you're gonna be good. You're gonna be great. So
And
let's live that way.
it's a two-way street too, because it like by being nice to people that can't do anything for you, one, it makes them feel better, but more importantly, honestly, it makes you feel better. And and by that, then both of us are raising up. Like, bro, just a quick side note of that. Here in Finland, the people that work at like the grocery store, or like anytime I go to pay, like the checker outers, or whatever they're called, are some of the nicest people from like the that's not a very fun job, like, to be straight up. Like, at least I don't feel like it. I've never really been it, but I don't feel like that's probably the most fun job in the world. And so I know like that can probably get annoying at times, and it might be hard to give that smile and be helpful and say hello. And bro, here it almost trips me out at how nice people are when you're going through that. And I also came from Czech Republic, where very majority speaking, they were not friendly at all in that avenue. So it's been such a contrast. But just the small interaction of the people checking out my groceries, being nice to me, bro, I think about it the whole time I walk home. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really, like, and maybe I'm fucking weird. I know I am, but that, for the 10 minutes that I walk home, I'm thinking to myself like, "Damn, that lady was really nice and she was smiling and she said, bye, have a good day." And like, damn. And then that just carries over into the next person I have an interaction with, or the next person I talk on the phone, or whatever. And it's like, it's all this little like chain reactions that um I think we overlook at times.
Spreading good vibe, not too much, thinking in our own bubble, in our own head. be out there. And yeah, I see it here in Florida. That's what I like about Florida so much. I go to those places, like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's or whatever. I'm not trying to promote these guys, but the people that are there, they're just, they're like you said, they're at the cash and they're greeting you with a smile.
Yeah.
They're happy to be there. They're happy to talk to you, and that makes the whole difference. And I've been to places where it's not like that. You're just there, and you know, it
Yeah.
makes, it makes a difference in this world.
No, it really does, man. And so, no, bro, well, I'm glad we got to spread some vibes. You gave me some good vibes on this one. And, man, I'm looking forward to the next time we connect.
Yes,
I don't know
sir.
where it's going to be. We might have to, shit, it might be in Asia. We're both trying to get to Asia. We both kind of got the same Philippines on the map, maybe Thailand. We could get something going, man. Cause dude, or shit, if things open up. Although, is Canadians allowed to travel to Europe right now? Or is it all
Some
locked off?
places do, but yeah, I'm not sure. Because I know I seen the UK close down. Really, like
Closed, yeah.
closed down. They're talking about like mutation or something. I'm like, oh, okay, this is serious stuff going on over there. They're locking down. I'm like, okay, but
The timing of that one's a little strange for me too. They're right after they release the vaccine, now a mutation comes out, but
that's another
we'll
story.
keep it moving. Yeah, well, that's another
Maybe
story
Asia
for
for us. Maybe
the
Asia for us, because I mean every time we see each other, it's a different type of location, right? That's
true. Yeah, what? Like, we went Portugal, Florida. So
yeah,
yeah, I guess up next is Asia. So
all the way over there.
yeah, bro, that'd be super fun, man. Like I said, that where any money that I'm saving right now is in mind to get back to Asia for. I want to use up I get 90 days tourist visa. I'm trying to use all 90 of those things, like might as well, because it makes the cost of the flight relatively cheaper by day. You know what I mean?
The flight is expensive. Once you're there, you're okay, but getting there, you're paying big dollars. But
Exactly. But shit, bro, let's keep in touch also, and if we can get you out here at some point, I'm gonna be pretty stationary here in Finland, but yeah,
uh,
you can't say I got a big ass couch. I'm in a cool little city. You come crash here anytime, my G.
you can come Florida anytime. You know that I got plenty of rooms here. The Sunshine State is home to me, man. It's like home to
I
me.
know. I'm glad that you're making that a home. That's if I was moving back to the States and living somewhere permanently, I'd be Florida, Texas, somewhere in the South.
Yeah, we're
I'm not
both very similar on those minds now. Because
no
Best
more
Coast,
what
West Coast is changed now, right?
no more what I mean for living there. It'd be cool to visit, like if I was gonna just be in the States for a week, I could
Yeah,
do it at my mom's crib, or I could be in Cali for a week. But in terms of like living and paying taxes, and I don't know if I would want, I don't know if it'd be worth it for me. So,
it's
and the
exactly.
Northeast is cool, but Florida, the South's got it all, I think right now. It's got some good weather, some laid back, cool people, and the least amount of taxes too. Which I'm not like against. I'm finally paying taxes here in Finland,
Uh-huh.
which I'm like happy about because society works pretty well here. Like it snowed like 3-4 inches today, and the sidewalks are all cleared out. The road, like things are working well. But in the States, I don't want to pay taxes because where's my money going? You know what I mean? Like what? Like I'm paying Gavin Newsom, who's gonna shut shit down on me. Like what am I doing? That's not. I don't want to pay him. You know. But alrighty, brother.
It's
We'll
been
talk
great.
soon.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having me on the podcast. It's been great discussion. Good talking to you. And man, continue doing your thing.
appreciate
Continue
it. Hey, likewise, man. It's fun. It's
doing
fun
good.
watching what you're doing. Also, you're on your own little path, which is dope, bro. not following. You're on the road less traveled yourself, which is
Appreciate it.
sick. It's super sick, bro. But alrighty, my G. Until next time, much love and peace.
Very much love.
Living for a living, baby. How you doing?